Okay, good afternoon all. Hope everyone is well. Feels like a Friday for some reason. Odd. Does feel like a Friday. Okay, hope everyone's had a good day yesterday. Hopefully, there's a reasonable amount of price action overnight. Most of it upwards. So it'd be interesting to see what happens today. Whether we got a leg up there and a bit of a correction, whether we get a second leg up. All-time highs up here. Yesterday's highs here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we were aiming for this area, but we'll see anyway. So Karina, good morning to you, or afternoon, wherever you are. I think where are you, Spain, aren't you, I think still? So that would be, you would be probably an hour or two ahead, I'm guessing. Maybe an hour, something like that. Okay, so we got a channel up there, which I like, fits nice. We got a break of it and a new high. We got two legs down. We're going a little bit sideways here, so whether this is two legs lower and we move up, who knows. Market is open. So let's have a little look here. See, this thing does plan on coming sort of continuing up, but there may, it's probably a little bit early. But there may be a channel down. I'm not so sure at the moment. I'm going to kind of leave that. So we'll see. So I hit something. I did take a trade yesterday afternoon. It was that trade that ended up dropping like a stone. I want to start doing this. So I do take a trade. I want to start showing you. Let me just see if I can find it. Anyway, what it was before that big move down. Where was it? Was it that one? No, I think it was earlier than that. I'll find the picture later. Oh, tell a lie. I think it was, I don't know, it was where the arse dropped out of it anyway. I think it was here, wasn't it? I can't remember. I'll have a look. I've got it saved anyway. So yeah, I think I need out of, let me have a look. So 4 days. So the Apex ones that got denied for the that time where I got in with 10 contracts by accident, I need one more profitable day in the next 3, and I'll be able to take a payment there. So I'm hoping to get about $8,000 out of those. I'm between $130 and $500 off withdrawing 10,000 from my Traderify account. So everything's going nice, nice and slow, nice and steady. So we just want to keep it like that. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we should get a nice payment. So next weekend, I'm away. Friday, I'm going away with my wife. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, we're just going down south to Winchester to visit my sister. My daughter, we're trusting her for her first kind of first bit of time on her own with her and her boyfriend. She's 17 now, so it's the first time we'll have been away by ourselves. For 17 years, basically, since she was born. So we're going to have a nice, relaxing week. I felt stressed the last few days, so I said to my wife last night, let's get away. So that will be, it's half term in the UK, so my daughter's off college anyway. So it'll be the Friday and the Monday that I'll be missing of next weekend. So leg down, leg down. I have a feeling now this is probably, if it continues down below here, working down, it may be ranging, it's hard to say. So that is a possibility. As we know, we have had a break and a new high, so maybe this is just ranging at the moment. I think it's come down enough now for me to think that this is probably on its way down. We had 2 legs up, bearish bar. It's a bit too early there because it looks like we're going sideways. Now, if we are kind of ranging with the possibility of continuing on up, I want to avoid this sort of, although it's a second entry short, just in case we push in, maybe retest this and push up. So there's still a possibility it could continue up. I'm not so sure now, though. So we got 2 legs up and then down. I would say with what I'm seeing now, it's probably going to continue down, but this is a new, larger channel, so I'd really like a third confirmation, really. My only slight concern with this is if this is the bottom of the channel. This is the bottom of the channel. We may be coming away. I'm hoping it's going to push down and then pull back up. But it does seem to be finding a bit of support there. Hopefully it'll push through. But there is a possibility we could still come back up. I don't think so, but you never know. So let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that that trade I took. Where are you? Yeah, that was the one yesterday. I took that one yesterday. It actually dropped. I got in it for 1.75 points. So we had a channel down there. This was on my second chart. We had 2 clear legs up, big push down below the EMA, nice lower high. You're going to have stops along here. And I got in, where did I get in? Right there, 1 tick below, and I got out there, and then it ended up just dropping. So that worked out quite nice. So it was on my second chart. So it probably would have been around here, I think. I can't remember what time it was. The channel down there. I don't know. Somewhere around about here. Ah, there we go. There it is. Yeah, that was it there, the lower high. So, yeah. Don't know why. Can't get rid of that. Strange. So we're going a bit sideways here, which is not a bad thing. I'd like it to test this. There is support there. You may call that overnight highs. You can clearly see bounce, bounce, bounce. So Russell, how you doing, buddy? So see if we test this. I don't think this will come back into it. I've got it drawn as a range, but it's only really touched a few times there. We have, it has kind of registered a touch underneath it there. So we could still go up. It's always a possibility. Could be something like that. That may fit a bit better. Now that's interesting. There's a second entry short there. It hasn't triggered. I wouldn't take it. It's just a bit too early for me. It never triggered anyway. So if this comes down really bearish, That's very tempting, that. Trouble is, it's 17 ticks. We're nearly at the bottom. I think it'll come down a fair way if it does, but I'm not getting into that. 19 ticks, we're right at the bottom. It has broken above any liquidity here, but one, it's too big. I don't like that wick. And if you do take that, I mean, we've got to be out before the lows. It's barely a point and a quarter you get out of it, squeeze. That's right from there. So, yeah. I think it'll probably work. But 17 ticks, you may argue it's a triple test. I'm a bit on the fence there, but I'd say that would work. But I think it's a little bit too much to risk, to be fair, considering it's a little bit congested. And look where the bar finished, right at the lows. So I don't think you can safely take that. Certainly not me anyway. Hey, bud, how you doing? Yeah, there's just no room. We're right at the bottom of this, so you'd expect that to get stopped out. But there's no room really if you go a tick below. Say there, you get a point and a quarter. So I don't know. I just think it's too much risk personally. If it was a little bit less and close maybe up here, I'd probably have a go at that. But 17 ticks, tick above, tick below, 19 ticks. That's like nearly 5 points of risk. It's a bit much, I think, when you've hardly got a point and a half to the lows. So this does look like we're coming down, so it may just end up just arranging at the moment. Overall, we have had a bounce there, so I'm going to bring that down here to there. I'm guessing that this is probably going to come down, so we still may get something. I mean, we've got these two legs down. We may have a new channel starting from here, which would work. In fact, I actually prefer that, depending on what happens. How you doing, Sean? What do you say, mate? 10,000 looks like the maze holding. Yeah. I've got the 10,000 down here. I've not got any EMA on it, though. But it certainly does look like we're coming down at the moment, doesn't it? And then how you look at it. There is a break here. You can clearly see it here, and it looks like here as well, which is okay. Second entry short, possible triple test. Let me just get an order up here, submitted, just in case. Channel break, new high. Like it to clear some of this, maybe. It's not far from this. If it clears this, we may get a second entry short there. It has done. Good. So let's see what happens now. Okay, there is a second entry short. I'm not super wrapped on that bar. The one to the left to tick off a doji. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. If we're going to get a second little leg, I'd like it maybe to come up to here. This area here. Touch, touch, touch. This does look like a channel, so I think there's a good chance this probably comes down, but you've still got to be a little bit careful. Okay, I'm just
Order
going to get out
canceled.
of order for now. There's something I don't like about this. Straight lines, how you doing? Did I say hello, Sean? I think I did. How you doing, guys? Okay, so we've got a bounce there and a bounce there. So maybe we're ranging a little bit here. Let me just add a bit of colour to that. So let's just move that up there for now. So possible bounce, bounce. Let me put this down here. There's I mean, that's moved up really strong, isn't it? So maybe this isn't a channel. Maybe we have something like that. Channel break new low, maybe. That's the thing, you got to be so careful. So we got a channel break new high, bearish bar up here, small bearish bar, not huge risk, and straight down. Trouble is, I wouldn't take that because it may trigger you and push up. See, I can see orders at 45 and 50. We're not quite there, I don't think. So if I have a look on Bookmap here, there's orders at 45, which is there higher than that. Now that may send this back up. There's orders at 45, there's orders at 50, so there's orders up here. So this thing may, it may continue up a bit. 1 minute it looks like we could be coming down. All of a sudden we're turned and we're up 5, 10, 15, 20 points more or less straight up. So that ATR is still quite healthy. I just couldn't go short there, really, that close to the highs. You never know whether it's going to trigger you and then, you know, break the overnight highs. It's just too risky, that is. It does look like a channel with a break of a new high, but too much. Too risky. And straight down. So we're either ranging or this is just a couple of attempts to break those highs again, maybe retest this and the thing's coming down. I don't know, in all fairness. So let's just put that there. So let's just try this fib tool and see where this takes us. That's the wrong way around, isn't it? Try that again. So we have come down almost to that 50% line. We're a couple of ticks off it. So we've got this move up. We've come down almost to that 50% line and we've pushed up quite strong. So there is a possibility we could still go a bit higher, but now we're coming down equally as strong. So if we have a bounce here, see, with a move up, we've got one attempt to go lower, second attempt to go lower, and then we could shoot up for another leg. There's no guarantees, but often it'll do that if it's going to make an attempt up. But as it's come down around about 50% and pushed up super strong, this just may be a second attempt. So channel break, new low, 1, 2, 3. If we get a nice bullish bar off here, consider that a triple test, 2 legs down, and then it may go higher. You know, if we have a leg up there, let's just see for reference. So something like that. This could certainly push up to yesterday's highs. Now, there's no guarantees. Call it an educated guess. But if we get a strong bull bar here, I don't think it'd be terrible to go long because we have clearly made 2 attempts. So let's just get an order here, just in case.
Order submitted.
I'd like it to break below there, ideally, which we have, which is good. So two nice little legs down. If this turns up and ends up bullish, I'll have a go at this, but it doesn't look like it's going to. The trouble is, if it does ends up bullish, it's kind of an inside bar at the moment, isn't it? So there's not really much we could do. Not only that, if you look at the 10,000 tick chart, we've had a channel with a break and a new low, so that's played out. It's very tempting to go long here. It's 21 ticks, isn't it? So if we get a higher low, I'll have a go. I don't think we will. It might just take off. We'll see. You've still got to be a bit careful because it has triggered it. But if we've bounced here, I think a higher low is the safer bet. It is a good strong buy. The fact that it didn't tick below there, I mean, this is just from a Pat's point of view. It's not a major issue. Okay, it's trigger below that bear bar. So if you took that one, I'd say there's a good chance you're going to get stopped out. It may hold, but I think it'll go. The fact that it's going sideways is encouraging. See, bookmap, we got orders up at 40, which is encouraging. There are some at 22, which is down here. I can't see any reason to come down here. 22 doesn't give us any liquidity, so if you're going to buy, this is going to be the area to do it, I think. Unfortunately, there's an inside bar there, and it's clearly a little bit sideways, which may it's hard to say. So I'd like a little new low and then a strong move up. Now, possible second entry short. If we can get a short failure here. As it's going sideways, it's clearly struggling to go down. And now we've had that move up. It's probably going to continue up. But there's not really much I can do now. 22 ticks. If I take an order there, it's going to have to be below there. I'm not risking all that. Maybe we get a second entry short and then trigger it, and then it'll give us a short failure, which will take us up. Trouble is, there may be a bigger channel down there. It could be a second entry short. I wouldn't want to go short into these lows. You can clearly see we're finding support here. So if this triggers, which it has, let's see where this goes. Because that could be a kind of reversal pattern then. Exponential, how you doing, buddy? Yours look different. I have reloaded my map. I did it just before I come on. Let me just see this one. See what happens here. It's getting a bit risky, this is. I'm so tempted to take this, but it's about a... Should I take that or not? It's 12 ticks, isn't it? Something about this. I could get a little bit less. Trouble is, it's stacking up a bit now. It's very tempting. Trouble is, there could be a lower high and this could come down. Yeah, that's what's concerning me. If it gets above there, I think it'd go. But the trouble is, there is a second entry short. There could be a lower high here, and it may take out. Stop. So if it gets above there, I think it'll go. Yeah, so I think it'll probably go up now. I ummed and ahed about it, but the trouble is, that's telling me it's a bit stacked, so you've got to be a bit cautious. Now, as soon as I get that caution, then really for me, I'm best to stay out of it. It's irrelevant whether it works or not. The worst trade in the world can work, but look how it's still struggling there a bit. There could be a couple of legs up, and it may still come down. It's so hard to say. There's always a possibility this is just a bigger range, and we've pulled down and we've just made another attempt. I ummed and ahed about it, but I have this little voice in my head saying it's stacked. It's stacked. And you have to listen to your rules. As tempting as it is, you've got those emotions thinking, I want to get in, I want to make money, but then you've got to try and have this little voice of reason in the back of your head saying, I understand, the idea of making money, but you have to be aware it's a little bit congested. So see how it got down there? We had a channel break, new low. It took off really strong. It's just not strong at the moment. It's probably going to work now. But at the moment, it is a failure. Will Matt mark it? Probably. But you have to be aware. I mean, Exponential, you said the same thing that was going on in my head. So, I'm not the only one that's thinking. But someone else has just mentioned it's at the 50% level, which, yes, it is. But you've still got to be a bit concerned. I will say there's a second entry short there, and it's probably going to get stopped out. But look, we've only gone up to the midline and we're pulling back already. So maybe there's something. But I mean, look at that, see. Now, you'd have got your points out of that anyway, but does this look like a strong push up to me? It's not, is it? And look at this. This looks like it's going to clear this out. So if you took that, then you got stopped out. So we're right to be cautious about that. It's not going up very strong. We've pushed up, hit that midline and straight down. So my guess now is maybe there is an overall range and we're going to have something like that. So that cautious feeling I had was for good reason. The fact that it worked and made a small amount, made enough is it's irrelevant really. I said prime move down, range high is not clear technically. Yeah, you've got to be aware of it, haven't you? I was so tempted. If I'd have been on evaluation, I'd have jumped all over that because it's probably going to work. But I take evaluations risky. But it is a clear failure. You're gonna have buyer's trap there. Seller's trap there. There's no doubt about it. How far is it going to go though? Because it's going sideways. Is it just going to push up and trigger it? And then come down, because you're going to have a damn sight more buyers stops down here than you are seller stops here. Seller stops are going to be up here. So that looks like a channel with a break in it, but I'm not convinced this thing is going up, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to take a short here because looks like a channel with a break, so it still may come up. So you just got to be a bit careful down here because it's... I will say there are orders up at 37 and 40, so maybe it will push up, but it's telling me just to be a bit cautious here. I mean, if you look at this, it's clearly a little bit sideways, so you've just got to be a bit careful. That's a strong move off. This isn't so much. Bit of a mess at the moment. I'm sitting on my hands here, rightly so. It is holding 1, 2, 3, so maybe that will work now. And as I mentioned, my gut feeling now after looking at Bookmap, it's probably going to move up. You can see these orders up here at 37 and 40. There's not so much down here, so my guess it's going to get drawn up. So I'd probably expect that to get hit. Now we're probably above a lot of this. Now it's probably going to... I think sellers are going to be thinking, oh, this thing looks like it's going up, so there's no point in considering selling it. I'd have said so, which probably just leaves buyers, but you never know. But I can see these orders at 37. If it gets above there, it'll hit the 37. I think it'll go at the 40, but then you've got more orders up here, up to 800, and right up here. So there's less down here, so it's usually going to get drawn, but then you can't really know what the aggressive sellers... There's a few more aggressive sellers up here than there are aggressive buyers, so obviously this gives us half the picture. The other half is kind of second by second in how these how these aggressive buyers and sellers act. If all of a sudden we get a massive amount of aggressive sellers compared to passive orders, then this thing will push down. So, but my guess it's probably going to continue up. We haven't made a new high yet, so maybe a couple of more attempts followed by a push up. It's hard to say. A lot of orders are getting yanked here. See that black area? And I'm guessing probably because it's a bit congested and kind of going sideways at the moment. But if we can get up to here, then I'm guessing it may get drawn upwards. Now, I'm by far an expert on this. I use this more than anything to figure out where to stay out of. But I do kind of think watching it and watching what happens to price gives you a better understanding of how this works. But what I expect to happen based on this quite often works, which tells me that, you know, I am starting to understand this a little bit. But as I say, I use this mainly for when to stay out of a trade. If I'm looking to get into a long trade and there's a massive amount of shorts sat right below my order, as that John Paul said once, if you put your order where you put your stop, you'll be surprised what happens. And in that case, if my order's here and there's a load of orders below me, that's where I would put my stop. So as it takes me out, buyers come in and theoretically push things up. But it's still going sideways here. We're getting orders at 35 now, so it's maybe if you're going to sell it, maybe because it's range in it. So it has got its uses, Bookmap. But straight away, I mean, it's tempting to buy there, isn't it? But then all of a sudden it goes sideways. But we have come down to almost that 50% level. And that does like 2 attempts. So maybe it does look like it's going to grind up. We've pushed up. We've come down and retested. We are finding support here. So my guess is if second entry long, strong bull bar, that is probably going to take it up. So I still think this thing will go up. We know there's orders at 40, so there's a reasonable amount to go if you're looking for a profit target. But channel, 2 attempts to go left. If we can get a bullish bar here, that'll take it up. Whether it'll be that one, I don't know. I'd still like to see it clear some of this liquidity. You're bound to have some there. So my guess is if it can clear that and then get a bullish bar, that's where it goes. But who knows? Might be going now. It's clearly stacked up anyway, so we push down, we go sideways. I'd like a push down, and that will give us 2 more attempts. So we need to get below there for me, pick off some liquidity, and then a nice bullish bar. That will probably take us up. And I think if it does push up, it's probably going to push a lot higher out the top, because that to me is 2 clear tests, 2 clear attempts to go lower. A retest of this, which couldn't get below. So that liquidity is now gone. So if we can get a good strong bullish bar, I think that'll take us up. And if this turns bullish, that may be it. But of course, I could be completely wrong. Struggling to get up as well. It could go the other way, but well, there you go. You just never know, see. Channel break, 1 attempt at a new high, 2nd attempt bearish bar, and then down we come. Who knows? It's just a bit unclear here, so it's cleared out all that liquidity. Now, are we going to get a second leg down, or is this going to be 1, 2, 3, and up we go? 2, 3. It's a doji anyway. This looks more positive. But as we've had that leg down with a few attempts, we may get a second leg down, so I'm sitting tight here. It's a bit, can get you in a bit of trouble here. I mean, that bar, it is a second entry long, you could argue. Technically, it's a third, but more or less, is this going to take off? Trouble is, we could still get this leaping down. We have cleared out any liquidity over here, and we are starting to push up. So But that is still very possible. So you've got to be a little bit careful here. It's very easy to just get a little bit over keen and think I'm going to miss out on this and jump in. All of a sudden, we do that. Triggers in, shoots down. So I kind of veered away from those impulsive trays that I was kind of famous for, if you like. I tend to just stop and think now. It takes a bit of time and a bit of practice to get to that level. In my case, more than most. So this to me looks like it's ranging at the moment. So, you know, we're also finding resistance there and we're finding some support here. So it does look like it's going sideways. If it gets above this midline, I think it'll take off. Trouble is, I've been guilty of this in the past, thinking 2 legs down, we must go up. And when you think it must go up, that tendency to want to find any way in is strong. And I've done it before, and all of a sudden it's triggered me and completely done. So I never just automatically think it must do something. You never quite know. I think it's always good to be open-minded and think, yeah, it looks like it's going up, but it just may not, because we're clearly finding resistance. So you may argue triple test to go short. You may argue triple test to go long. The long worked and the short worked. So maybe it is just ranging. But now we've made 3 attempts to push up. Are we going to drop out the bottom? Trouble is, when we push down into a range, I expect the outcome to quite likely push out the bottom. So I only really want to be thinking about shorts here. Trouble is, if this is a range, a bigger range, and it's going to push up, a short here might trigger and continue on higher, but this does look like now it's probably going to come down. 3 attempts to push up. So many times when it has 2 attempts down, it rockets up, but it didn't here. It did look like it was going up quite strong there, but then all of a sudden it broke above the top and turned. So have you got a triple test here? It's hard to say. I'm not a fan of this type of trading, to be honest with you, because the time I decide to have the confidence to get in, it'll trigger me and drop out. So as we've pushed down, we've made 3 attempts to go higher. And not only that, it's only a first entry that. We've got a channel down, so I'm just being careful. Now, if I do nothing, it'll probably rocket up, but the second I get in, I guarantee it'll trigger me and slap me in the face. I'm still seeing orders at 35 and orders at 40 up here. Higher low might not be terrible, but if we get a higher low, I think there's a good chance we push up a bit higher. But as I say, we've pushed down and made 3 clear attempts. You may call that one attempt and this a second attempt, but my gut feeling tells me as we've done that and pushed down into it, it's likely to fall out the bottom. But we've got a channel down. There's a higher low there. But as we've got a channel down with a break, we could get a second entry short. It may trigger your long, your higher low, and then come down. So same again. I'm just sitting on my hands at the moment. This market is a bit untrustworthy. Just going to bring this down a bit. So, okay, high or low. Risky, I think. Channel down, second entry short, failure, trapping the high or low. It could go up and the buyers might win, or it could come down and the sellers might win. But as we've had a channel down with 2 attempts, we have had a break and a new low, but I still think that is risky because you can guess there's going to be a fair amount of stops below there, and the strongest orders I can see are up here. So, but if you took that higher low now and all of a sudden you see this coming down, what would you be thinking? Now, it may hold. If it's a strong enough position, there's enough buyers in there, it'll hold. But I don't think so. No, that's the trouble. Bullish bar, higher low, clearly ranging. Trouble is, I think you're always going to be aware that if we push down into a range and we make a few attempts, there's a good chance we're going to come out the other side, down, across and down, and vice versa. We are going to 6, 7, 12, which would be around about where that measured move is. So you certainly could be right. So I can't see this pushing up now to be, we've clearly come from the top. We've clearly made 3 attempts, and it hasn't had it. We've had a bunch of buy orders down here, bunch of buyers down here, but not as much as the sellers. The sellers completely won over there, but overall ranging looks like it, doesn't it? So I'm not thinking about fading this. I certainly think it may come up and retest the bottom, but my gut feeling is we're likely to come down, certainly to that measured move, which is 15, 17. What did you say? 712, which is a little bit lower. There is liquidity here, and as we know, often it'll clear that out before it, carries on its merry way wherever it's going. So, measured move next up. It's broken below there, any liquidity there. There will be liquidity here after this move down. Bullish bar, higher low. Another bullish bar. So they'll likely, after this correction, be buyers buying down here to push up. So you're guessing they're taking profits up there quite likely. Hence, it's losing its traction. So if we can get a second entry short, maybe a retest of this, then I would probably have a go at that because I do think it's going to come down in some form. So, cleared out liquidity there. You expect a pullback. Now, it is ranging, so, sometimes these breakouts do fail. But for me, yes, it is ranging, but every time we're going up, they're higher, they're lower, they're lower, they're lower. We're constantly struggling to get up, and then we have the drop out the bottom. So I can't see this being strong enough to push up, to be honest with you. So if we can get a second entry short there, which, see what I mean? Yeah, you kind of know where it's going, and you're looking for an entry, and all of a sudden it just turns over, rolls over, drops down 22 ticks. It's just annoying, isn't it? Maybe we get something here, you never know. We want another little second entry here. Go on, get up. I don't think it's going to, but we may be lucky. I'm just going to get an order here.
Order
just in
submitted.
Case, because we may get something. Might look better here. But maybe we got to get to that EMA. Although that big bearish bar hasn't triggered, I still want to get to the EMA or just to the underside of this. That may work. Trouble is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 bars side by side. So you've got to be so careful here. Now look at this. It's dropping a bit and now it's all of a sudden pulling back. Is it gonna turn? I'd say it probably is. That's premature in my opinion. So if you took that second entry short, trigger just stopped you out. It's just too early to get in. That is much better. Cleared out liquidity right at that EMA. If it is ranging, we're right at the top. There's a bull bar here, big strong higher low here. If this turns, it'll stop out that and that. There's still a possibility it could come into the range. I didn't think it would because I don't think it's strong enough, but maybe I'm wrong. See, this market is surprising me today. Sometimes, as Matt talks about multiple personalities, sometimes it's readable, sometimes it just works beautifully and you can figure out exactly where it's going. And other times it just throws you surprise after surprise. So that's me pushing strong. Look. So just for now, I'm going to ditch
order cancelled.
Another fail secondary short I like, but too congested. Yeah, and that's the trouble. It's spending a lot of time doing that, isn't it? Trouble is, when it's constantly losing upwards momentum and then we drop out, your kind of natural thought process is you've got to be careful going long because every time we get in, we're struggling to get higher and higher, and all of a sudden it just rockets up. As I say, there are orders up here. There are orders at 40, which is the one I marked, which is that. And there are orders about 34, which is just below that midline. So it may still go down. 34, which is there. So channel there with a break new high. I just don't trust this market anyway. So we got a little channel there with a break, new high, bearish bar. Trouble is, you got to be careful going short here because it may come down, test this line, and then push up for a second leg. If we get a lower high here, though, I don't think that would be terrible. But this market is a bit untrustworthy, especially with those orders there. And there, in fact, they're a little bit lower than that. They're around about the 33, which is here, which, funnily enough, is a couple of ticks above that bearish bar. So for that reason, I wouldn't take that short there. It doesn't mean it won't work if you get enough aggressive sellers here now. Doesn't really matter what the buyers do, but there's more buyers aggressively than sellers at the moment. So I think that one may get stopped out unless we get a lower high, but we're still above that EMA. And a lot of times, as we know, if we've got a channel like that, it'll test the top of it. Speedy, sorry, Matt, I didn't see you there, bud. How you doing? Daryl, how you doing? Anybody else I've missed? I don't think so. So there is a lower high there, but it's got a big wick on it. So this thing could come down. But my guess is I can see orders up here and I can see orders up here. That for me is an easy target. Little Hammer, how you doing? But I'm okay, mate. I'm all good. So I think that is vulnerable, which is another reason why I wouldn't take it. And that's another reason why I find Bookmap useful. So if you took that, you're bound to get stopped out. That bull bar's bound to trigger. So there we go. So if you took that channel break new high, bearish bar, trigger just stopped you out. So those orders are not yet taken. Can't work out where they are. They're around about 33, so they may have taken them, but Bookmap, I can't see that. I know Bookmap's a few seconds behind, but it still hasn't taken them, so maybe it's a bit higher. So now, let me just clear this up. Now, there's always a possibility that may be a bit bigger. It's hard to say at the moment, so I'm just going to leave that. Now, if this is a channel, we may have a break and a new low, but at the moment, I'm feeling very untrustworthy. Let's have a look. So Thomas Wade hasn't even got that as a channel, and I'm not surprised. So let's have a look at Daniel. What's he got? Yeah, Taylor hasn't got it as a channel either, so good reason to get rid of it. Okay, so this is Dan's chart at the moment. So we've got a channel at the break new high. We got this. He took a short up here, which I didn't think was terrible. We clearly got 2 legs up. I didn't take it because it wasn't quite at the highs, as you can see. He took that one and it worked really well. And as I say, you're far from that here, mate. It's just a bit too close to the top for me. So little channel there with the break, which is what I had. New high. And then we're mainly going sideways. So it's not the easiest day today. It's a bit finicky. Multiple personalities, as Matt calls it. Sometimes it just works in legs beautifully, but this, although it is working legs, it's not doing what I think it's doing. We're going for 57 minutes. Excuse me, just 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick few-minute break, make a cup of tea. I'm getting a bit dry in the mouth. I haven't drunk much today, so I'm just going to leave you guys. No orders open. Everything's as it should. Okay, so I'm just going to take a few minutes. And it's interesting. Channel break new high. Yeah, it's a bit odd, this, isn't it? So I'm going to leave it. I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Yeah, it's just hard to read this damn thing, isn't it? Look at that, 32 tick bar straight down. Now, 2 legs up. Here's a lower high, but how can you get in for 32 ticks? If you get that wrong, you're in deep doo-doo. Excuse me, just a sec. Right, it's hard to know exactly what this thing's doing. So there is a failure there. It's very tempting, but it's 19 ticks and ain't finished yet. It's probably going to eat that, but what's it going to do? Bounce on the midline and push up? I'm not getting for 19 ticks, no chance. No way, Jose. Not only that, there's always a possibility that there is something larger, which means if you get in short there, woof. Good night, Irene, and you're in trouble. So nothing I could do there. Matt's going to say risk reward for losers and losing strategies. The thing is, if I'd been doing this over 25 years and I traded 20 contracts and I'd make a nice living out of it, then I probably wouldn't mind risking a little bit more. But I mean, it depends on your lifestyle, depends on your income, depends how long you've been doing it, you know, but you have to pay attention to that 31, 32 ticks. If you get it wrong, that's one hell of a big loss, especially if you're not super clear. And if there is a bigger channel, the move's already gone. You know what I mean? So now the reason I did avoid that, it hasn't triggered anyway, but if this is a channel down, I'd like to see a second entry short up here. So 2 legs up. Now, what I will say is I wonder if there is something like that. It's possible, but it's not. I don't like the angle. It's not strong enough for me. So it's 2 legs up. It's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly what this thing's got in mind. So if this is a channel, this is where you'd expect it to kind of do its thing. Probably is this market has got a habit of overlapping itself. So depending on how many points you were going for there, this thing's already on its way back up. So so the thing is, there's always the chance that we could end up doing something like that. I can post my mails with Mac. So a lower high would be a better option here. Trouble is, this thing's, I don't like the way this thing's bouncing around. Looks like it's going to do one thing and then all of a sudden does something else. So possible failure there. Is this coming down? There's a second entry short triggered. Is it coming down the EMA? It's going to turn and push up. It could do. Well, it may not do. We could get a lower high, so it may trap you going long. Price is above the EMA at the moment, but the EMA is quite flat, so you've got to be careful here. So it might be a double trap here. It may trigger you for the failure. and then there's a lower high. My guess is that is vulnerable, but do I really want to go long here? Same again, 18 ticks. This is just a little bit unpredictable, isn't it? I get it's tempting there to go long, push above the EMA, big bullish bar, but look what happened. It's triggered and already pulling back. Is that a bit of a red flag? Yeah, it is a bit Trap City. Yeah, it's not. It's every time we're up, it's bouncing different. Every time we're down, with the exception of there a little bit, it's bouncing in a different place. Now, is that going to push up? There's a big bearish bar there, so quite possibly, but how far is it going to go? There's no consistency, so you can't trade safe at the moment, in my opinion. I think that would probably work. It's a big push above the EMA, and you've got a nice strong bullish bar, but up, down, up, it's just hard to say. Wait, low for 6 points. Yeah, the trouble is it triggers you. It doesn't see that one there. You know about that one? On my chart, it hasn't triggered on there, so that's you got to be careful. It is a second entry long, but that it missed that one, didn't it? It triggered then, but all of a sudden came down. So, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars sideways. So nothing for me. It did see on my second chart it triggered, but it wasn't a second entry then, was it? So, yeah, it's just a bit untrustworthy, this, and that really is kind of in the middle of this, so I'm just not sure. I'm not feeling confident enough to trade these at the minute. Now, if it was an evaluation, as I say, it's a different story, but I'm trying to do less evaluations. I trade them ridiculously. I know there is orders up here. They're still sat there quite strong, and there's orders at 45. So I think there's a good chance this thing does go up. But it's triggered now, and it's going sideways. So when it goes sideways, it's an area of uncertainty, and a lot of the time it will clear areas like this before buyers may decide to jump in. So... yeah, it's a little bit unpredictable, this, isn't it? It's a bit like a lottery. So we push up. It looks like we may be a spike in a channel. I still think, I know there's orders up here at 40. They're bright red, so I think there's a good chance it gets to that, but I don't like this. And not only that, if that is a channel, it's right at the top. Sometimes it'll go sideways, drop out, have a breakout, clear liquidity, and then have a second leg up. So I'm just a bit uncertain at the moment. I'm very close to payday, so I want to just make sure I do this thing very, very, very carefully. I don't want it to stop me getting scared to get into a trade. Whereas I was trading my Apex accounts at 2 contracts. My Apex accounts are around about $4,000 now, just a touch over. 4,000, 4,2, 4,1, 4,1. So they're at a nice, comfortable level. So I think when you get some money, I'm dropping my risk a little bit to 1 contract. I don't mind when they're new accounts, 2 contracts, just to grow them a little bit. But when you get money in there, then I tend to go into protection mode. So I've got about $17,000 profit just in 4 of those accounts. So it did what I expected it to do. Break this level. There are orders at 40. Clearly see there are orders here, 42 and 45. So I'd certainly expect it to break this level, possibly the tops. But 1 minute, this thing looked like 2 legs down, kind of 50% level, and it looked like it was going to move up, and then all of a sudden we had a big drop. So still feeling bearish. Yeah, I'm just a bit on the fence at the moment. maybe this is a move down with 2 legs to come up. Maybe it's going to retest this high, but I think overall for me, this is probably a range. But what I will say is from here onwards, we've bounced along that midline. You can see it right the way along the midline. We've had a drop below it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this breaks above this area. In fact, I'm going to make a prediction that I think price will get into that area. Yeah, I think price is going to get into the. No, let's make it realistic. I don't want to make it too easy for myself. I think price, because we've had that breakout there, will get into this area there. I think whereabouts it is above there, but I think it'll break above this. But if this is a range, which I think it more or less is, it's clearly bouncing off that midline. You can see that we've broken below it, and then we've had a strong move up. So I think we'll break above it. Break out the bottom of the range, push back into the range typically. Yeah, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? As I say, I can see orders at 50, which is right in the middle of this. And you can see them up there. So this thing does look like it's getting drawn up there. There's not as many orders down here to attract price, really. So this does look like it's slowly getting drawn higher. So this is where I expect price to get, somewhere around about here. But as I say, that 50 line, I didn't notice that, but the 50 is right in the middle of that. So this, to me, looks like one big channel. Maybe a spike in a channel if it goes sideways a bit, but there is a bullish bar there sitting right on this. I think it will probably work, but I'm just sitting tight here. So it's picked off that 40 level. So it may go a bit sideways there. Yeah. See, there are orders down there at 35, which is back at that EMA. So if that's a channel, if we get 2 little legs back, that may be a way up. Did you see snow cone on Titans? I don't know what any of that means, but sorry, mate. Did I see snow cone on Titans? I'm not sure what either of those. Learn from Dalton. I don't know who Dalton is. So initial balance is reached. There's a 90% chance it will reject. No, I'm not sure who any of those are, but I do spend quite a bit of time on YouTube, as most of us do, but I'm not sure of those. Snow cone, Titans, and Dalton. I'll take a photo of that. I always like to take an interest in sorry. Who's who and what's what. Okay, so maybe we get a little break here and a push up. Is there a bigger channel? Possible. It's possible. Initial balance of the range between 8:30 and 9:30. Shows why Matt does it too. Yeah. So leg up with a break. If we can get a second entry long here or a triple test, I'd much prefer it though to come to the EMA, but it may not. There's a couple of bear bars there, so it may just push. I'd like it to drop below there, but I don't think it's going to. Maybe it will. Trouble is, every time we get up here, it's reversing and it's doing it at a different place. So you just never quite know. We'll have to see. Yeah, that's a shame. I was hoping we may get You may call that one test. I was hoping we'd come back a little bit more, touch that EMA and finish bullish, in which case I'd have had a go at that. But unfortunately, it's just took off. That's a shame, innit? Never mind. So it's going to push through this slot in a minute, I think, and that is where I believe price is likely to go. Okay, so we're a tick or two away from overnight highs. I don't think it'll all back now. We're a tick off all-time highs there. Sorry, my mistake. Overnight highs. There we go, straight through it. So it did what I expected. It unfortunately it didn't give us an option to get in, which is kind of how things work, which is a bit frustrating. So there are orders at 50, which is right in the middle of this little bubble I put there. But there are orders further up as well at 55. So maybe that's a couple of attempts. There's the 50% level. We did drop below it, but then instantly pushed up. So maybe it will pop up. Disco, how you doing, pal? So maybe we will get a second leg up. It's hard to say. I wouldn't trust this market, to be honest with you. It's having a little bit of a bounce all over the place. Although leg up, this looks kind of predictable. We clearly had that measured leg. But then when we get this measured leg, the top of it is above there. So you'd naturally expect a little push, I suppose. So that's played out. So it's getting a little bit more trustworthy. Using NinjaTrader's volume profile indicator to calculate something. Yeah. I think because most of us go for such a small movement, I don't tend to pay too much attention to too much. I mean, that is what I go for at the moment, which is a small move. If I was going for bigger moves, I'd be paying attention to, you know, a little bit more about previous days, previous opens and stuff like that. But that was kind of my prediction. So I like doing this because it just gives me confidence that I'm understanding how the markets work. And markets, for the most time, are relatively predictable when you've been looking at them a while, but they do have times where they do things that are unexpected. But just by looking at Bookmap and the little breakout there, that's where I expected it to go, and it's kind of more or less got right in the middle of where I expected it. So it does give you confidence, this, if you try and predict this. I wouldn't necessarily call it prediction as such. It's more of an educated guess, based on experience of just watching the way these things work. And for the most part, it does help you understand and give you confidence that you know when you can get into trades here, you've got the confidence you're aiming in the right direction based on, you know, a few little tools and so on and so forth. So and also with Bookmap as well, it hit that level 55. That 750 where I expected it to. So Bookmap can be useful. I've messed around with it on and off for maybe a couple of years or so, and I've had it and then I've got rid of it and I've had it. But I used to think it was more useful to, you know, where to get in and hold in trades. But for me, it proves much more useful, helping me stay out of trades that I might be slightly a little bit too premature on. So it's useful, put it that way. Ooh. It's just a shame. If we had a second entry long there, that would have been a peach. Nice leg up with a break, another leg up. So when you break above this, there's going to be profit taken up there, so you'd naturally expect to pull back. So if you're a buyer, where you're going to be thinking about buying right at the top here, 45, and hey presto, look at Apex. In fact, that the top line is just above 45, and those orders there are just above 45. So it does make sense, this. So those orders are being picked up now, you can see. So let's hope now more buyers are coming in to push higher. At the moment, there's more aggressive sellers at the moment, but you can see orders at 750, 755, and up here as well. You can see the darker colours up here, so it does look like it's being drawn up. But when we're at the top of this, you never know how aggressive buyers and sellers. All of a sudden, there's twice the amount of aggressive sellers there. This only kind of gives you half the picture, and hence we've had a sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 level push down. So once this goes down so far, I think a lot of orders will become a little bit yanked, and you can see there it's picked up all those orders. Now you never quite know whether it's going to absorb them and continue higher, or aggressive sellers are going to come in, which they did initially, but now it's kind of evening out, and the buyers are a little bit more aggressive, hence that little pullback. So I still think it's more likely that this continues up. But you know, you never know. But it is useful to have that. So we may push down into here strong. If it gets so far down, then I think it will continue. But buy 20 valuations immediately below them, then buy 20 more and below them too. I am exceptionally good at blowing evaluations. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I'm a master. So I'm good at something. The trouble is, because of, you know, the 80-90% offs and the cheaper PA fees, the cheaper these things are, the kind of more aggressive we get with them, and it's not a good habit to get into. So I'm trying to avoid them, really. I'm trying to just keep so many accounts and just keep them consistent and focus on that more. What I will say is, when I do some of these evaluations and they get very close and go against you, it does frustrate you a little, and you don't really want to be taking that frustration into when you trade in your PA accounts. So looking at Bookmap now, they are still orders up here. You can see these white areas, 52, 55, but there are some appearing down here as well at 35, which is down here. So, you know, my thought process at the moment may be temporarily shifting to sort of come down. It's hard to say. Yeah, they do. The difference between those two, especially Patrick, he makes an absolute fortune at the affiliates, so he can afford to do it. I think we had a look at his affiliates once, not so long ago, and on average, he was making about $20,000 per day. So you can afford to do that. You can afford to blend. The trouble is, you know, with the likes of you and me and probably most of us, you know, we've got to rely on trying to make money from trading. So that adds a little bit of pressure and probably affects how you trade. But when you have that much money coming in, you don't even need to think about money. You can just trade. Trading probably gets a lot easier. When you haven't got to worry about losing money and making money, trading is bound to become easier. Because if he's making $20,000, if he's making nearly $100,000 in a week on affiliates, he doesn't need to make a penny from trading. So he can treat trading as a bit of fun. So he doesn't have to worry. So it's very easy to let trades run and that. So I guess, you know, Nut is probably making, I don't know, maybe a few thousand, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a month, maybe a little bit more. Maybe 10,000 a month, something. It's hard to say. But same again, you can afford to trade them that aggressively. I tend to trade my evaluations aggressively, but I have to have a little bit more respect for my PA accounts because, you know, the potential's there to make real money, which we all obviously need. But if I was making, you know, if I could afford to have an income from affiliates and have a spare $2,000-3,000 a month to throw at the markets, life becomes obviously a lot easier. Affiliations, yeah, absolutely. That's where they're making the money. Alpine does pretty good. He's about year ahead allowance will be 400k in profit next year. Wouldn't that be nice? As long as I make more money than I do the previous year, I'm okay. The thing is with Alpine, he'll go through 10 or 12 days making really good money, and then when he has a loss or a couple of losses, he tends to blow in accounts. So if he can sort of suss out a way of not mitigating those losses on those days, even if he loses half his account, there's still a good chance he'd be able to retain those. But it's okay. It's okay when you're making money, but when things go wrong, that's when it can kind of do you the damage. So we all know what it's like to make money, and I haven't lost a trade in a month. I've probably taken in a month maybe 12 or 13, 14 trades and won them all. Probably 5 of them I've got out for, I don't know, a point or a few ticks, maybe a couple of break even, but I haven't lost a trade. And it's nice when things go well, but ultimately you're going to take a loss at some point. And I think sometimes the longer you go without a loss, the more painful it is. But that's why I have my Guardian Angel trader. So if I have my Guardian Angel trader, where is it here? So it's not locked at the moment because I made some changes. So if I have my Guardian Angel trader and say I pick one of my accounts here, I have it set so my allowed trading times are between 1:30 UK time to 6:30 UK time, which is plenty enough. My position size, 1 contract, losing trades, 2 contracts. So if I lose 2 consecutive trades, it blocks me for the day. There is a slight filter of $25 just in case I get out for break even minus a tick. Losing timeout, I changed this earlier. I didn't set it to 3 minutes. So if I lose a trade, it just gives you a few minutes worth of breather, because sometimes I don't tend to do it anymore, but there's always that possibility you think you may have been trapped in the wrong direction and you jump back in. So I think just a few minute breather is a good idea. Lock settings, that I need to redo that. I'll do that later. But settings, my stop. I usually lock my stop, so I can't move my stop unless it's into profit. So it's good to have this, and you can adjust the contract size per account. So if you've got, if you get a couple of new accounts, you can, add an extra contractor and trade them a little bit more. But it is useful, this. It saves you when things go wrong. It just gives you that kind of boundary which you can set in the cold light of day. Alpine got angry with a loss yesterday and revenge back. Yeah. I don't tend to get angry, but I get frustrated with losses. I don't do the same damage with losses now that I used to. I do know the difference now. I've kind of finally learned that losses do happen, and you have to accept them. As frustrating as they can be, you think we'd get it by now, wouldn't you? But they do happen, and you'll never completely avoid them. You can go a long way to taking less of them by obviously being a little bit more strict, less trades and so on and so forth. But ultimately, you're going to get them, and it's all good and well making a bunch of trades in a row and doing really well and making money. That when you take a loss, you end up destroying your accounts. A good example of that is Thomas Wade. Thomas Wade's got no problems showing losses, and I like that. That for me says he's kind of confident. He gets it. He understands it. He's confident in his own skill. That even with losses, he didn't take a huge amount of them, but they do happen. He'll take 1 or 2, maybe in a week, but he'll probably take a couple of trades a day. But he knows that with his skill level, he'll overall make money, and that's all that matters. A lot of people avoid showing losses. It's very rare, you see a trade on the Facebook group where people show losses. People kind of get embarrassed of them a little bit. You know, people don't like to admit to other people that they get them, but you know, it does happen. You can't avoid them. I don't like taking them. I hate taking losses. You know, when I build my accounts up, that money's in my account. My attitude is it's my money now. But really, winners and losses over a month period, it's just part of the journey. And at the end of the month, then you can sit down and go, okay, I've made X amount of money this month. I can take so-and-so payment. And you've kind of got to forget what happens in the meantime. You know, as I've said before, if you've got a business, let's say you've got a haulage company, and you've got half a dozen, trucks, they're going to break down. You can have some big fat bills to pay. You know, clutches can go and tires and all other bits and pieces that you've constantly got to be paying. And if something goes, you don't really think twice. You just pay for it because it's part of it. It's an expense. And that goes the same for losses. Losses are really just business expenses. So we got a channel with a break. There is a higher low there, so this may be going up. But as we broke out the top, there's a good chance this may come down. And all of a sudden now, there's a lower high there. Trouble is, we're already at the lows. And there is some support across there, so I can't go short there. I think there's a good chance that we get a second leg down, but it's triggered and all of a sudden working back. So Joe is serious besides, of course, but here's a Zen and don't show blowing accounts. Yeah. I think the thing is with Joe, I think he's got good patience, but you kind of see his thing blocked out, so you never know what accounts he's trading. Now, the way he trades, and I have watched him in the past, I don't doubt he makes money. I don't doubt it, but you never quite know what people do in the meantime, do you? But so that's probably going to work okay. I would prefer a lower high, really. The trouble is we're already at the lows, really. We're a few ticks away from the lows, and I can see a little bit of support across there, so I would just kind of avoid that. It's a rather large anyway, but if we can get maybe something else, second entry long, maybe a failure, that might be a better option, but we're already finding a little bit of support there. And straight away, that is pricking up my ears. You can see that bounce. So we've got a channel with a break and a new low. You don't know whether we're going to have 3 bounces here and it's going to take back off. I've got this channel down, but it's not really confirmed as of yet. Bit too full on pushing his Discord. Yeah. You can pay up to $200 per month on one of his packages. See, really, Joe is just like us, most of us in here. He's only just got to the stage where he's making money. So I wouldn't have the nerve to charge people, to be honest with you. I have said it's something I'll never do. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. Once you start charging people, you've got commitment. I like to know that I'm not committed. And not only that, you know, when you've only just started making it yourself, to charge other people, I think it's not for me. I like to think it's about helping less experienced. You know, I turn to more experienced people every day. I'm constantly asking Dan, what does he think about that? Because I know he's been doing it longer than me and he's more experienced. Same with Marco as well. I ask Marco questions. So, you know, I turn to more experienced people and then less experienced people will ask me. So I think it's all about helping each other. It's a tough business, this, and it can be a painful learning process. So I think it's good to help people. And so much of life is about a money-making machine, and it just fries my brain. Sometimes you go on holidays or you have weekends away and all you feel like is people are out to rip you off. So there's enough people out there, you know, robbing inexperienced traders. I don't want to be one of them. I like to know that I'm helping somebody, and I like to know there are people out there who, you know, will help me. So lower high there, possible second entry short. Trouble is, yes, there may be a channel, but I don't like the way it's finding some support there. What I will say is there'll be quite likely some stops there. and under there as well. So I think it probably will go down, but now it's all of a sudden stacking up. But it could be a move down with 2 attempts to push. So even if I get rid of that, even if I get rid of that, it just could be a channel down with 2 attempts to push higher and then down again. Yeah. He gives 2 times this score, been free, shown his profit and made. Of course, I think it's about $400. Yeah. He's only really just, he hasn't really been doing it long himself, to be honest with you. And I think to start charging people, I don't, if people are free to do whatever they want, but I would feel too cheeky to do that. Wilson as well. I think Wilson's a nice guy, but he charges people, and Wilson still struggles himself. He still blows accounts and stuff like that. So I think if you're still going through the stage where you're learning yourself and you're still blowing accounts and you're still losing via emotions, for me, I'd be embarrassed to charge people. If I've been doing it for 20 years like Mac, then I don't see a problem with it. But, people are free to do whatever they want. I get that. I don't hold it against people, but I wouldn't do it personally. So orders at 50 and orders at 55. So is this thing, is this a channel, and is this a break, and is this going to push up? Sometimes it'll show you one thing and do another. So as this is going sideways, my guess is this is more than likely going to push up, I would have said, just based on, first and foremost, there are orders at 30, so it may come a bit lower, but the stronger orders for me are upwards. So I think based on this, it's more likely to go up, which tells me that if this is a channel and we've got a break of it, that will be another reason why it would go up. But as we've had a move down with 1 push up and a second push up, the penguin trade comes to mind. Maybe this is a break, 2 attempts to push up, and then it can't get up and it reverses. I got to say, trading's way more hard than I ever thought it would be. Okay, move down, 2 attempts to go higher. So there is kind of a failure there, if you like. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This kind of a little second entry, but there looks like a little channel going up. See, as we've made 2 attempts to push higher, you would think down. But I can see orders at 30, which is here, so maybe, I don't know at the moment. It's not the easiest day to trade today. The markets are a little bit, it's moving erratically. There's no real consistency. Every time we get up, we're doing it at a different spot every time, with the exception of this little bit. We're kind of bouncing at different places, so it's a bit hard. It's a bit unpredictable today. There is a triple test there, but as we've pushed down and we've made 2 attempts to go higher, I would have to avoid this. Now, you may argue it's a triple test, but it's 21 ticks and it's going a bit sideways. So if it's congested, you're going long right into the top section of it. So I would have to avoid that. You're looking for 750, are you? Yeah. There are orders up there, so, but then all of a sudden, see, this big bull bar goes up, straight away it crosses over and comes down. So it looks to me like it's that, see, that lower high hasn't been stopped out. So it looks to me like it's really struggling to go up. So at Bookmap now, there's equal amount of orders to the downside as well. So that's been there a while. So that may not even get up there. That's the highs of the day. So, but at the moment, it does kind of look like it's been drawn down, and that would make sense. Some of these bars are rather large. So anyway, little breakout here, that makes sense. So for me, I think at the moment this is more of a range. Break out the top, matching one. Break out the bottom, matching one at the top makes sense. But yeah, really, we are, with the exception of the breakout top and bottom, we are more or less going sideways. So I would just have to kind of treat it like that. And we can only hope that when it does come down to the bottom, it does so a little bit more consistently. That clearly looks okay. So it's funny actually. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry. We love you. Thank you, Karina. We love you too. Nice to be loved, isn't it? Going to invite us to the Hilton to a party next payout. That's a bit expensive. Mind you, I did stay in the Hilton once. It wasn't as expensive as I thought. A long time ago, we went to Kenya to get married about 19 years ago. And we stopped in the Hilton just for a night. I always like to stop in a hotel the night before to make sure I'm there, because when you get a flight and a holiday, it's kind of a one-shot deal, isn't it? You don't want to be breaking down in a car. So we just had one night there and 2 weeks or 3 weeks of parking, actually. So this 1 minute is giving us the impression that we're coming down to the bottom, and then all of a sudden we get 3 bars, kind of 5, 10, the best part of 14, 15 points straight up. So it's a bit aggressive, this market, isn't it? Let's have a look on the 10,000, see if this is making much sense. Not really, is it? It's just as usually this filters stuff out, but it's still, we got a leg and a leg down, a leg and a leg up. It's not ideal, is it? It's definitely a bit scary today. Death metal songs. You like your heavy stuff, do you? I used to like heavy stuff, but back when I was a bit younger, I used to like stuff like Marillion back in the day. I think the closest heavy-wise, I went to see the Rolling Stones in about, I think it was was it the early 90s? At Wembley, I think it was early 90s. I wouldn't consider them heavy, but I did see, who's the band? They're more of a kind of a joke band, or they were. What they're called? I can't remember now. Used to wear jumpsuits. They were out in the 90s. The Darkness, I suppose that's probably as heavy as I've seen, I'd say recently. I went to see a Robbie Williams concert and they had The Darkness were there, Ash was there, Moby was there, Kelly Osbourne. I have a lot of melodies. We need kind of calming music, don't we, Jethro Tull? We need calm. I'm listening to What's it a lot lately? I am. Toto. Listening to a lot of them lately. Again, great music. They wrote some great songs, Toto did. Really good sort of pop band, weren't they? So channel break new high. It's just it's quite unpredictable, this, where it's finishing, where it's turning. 1 minute, you know, we look like we're taking off the bottom, all of a sudden it drops out the bottom, and then we come down. All it looks like lower high, we're coming down, and all of a sudden it triggers you, pushes you up. Didn't stop you out, fortunately. You'd have probably got something on that, but it's definitely a bit unpredictable at the moment. Locomotive breath was on my top list. I was 10 years old. I haven't seen many bands and stuff like that. I think the first band I ever saw, well, I said the first band I ever saw was Elton John. My stepfather was in the army, and we were based over in Omagh in Northern Ireland in around about 86, 87. And I went to see Elton John at the King's Hall in Belfast, Kenya. Yeah, we got married out in Kenya. I think it was about 19 years ago. We went for 3 weeks to Mombasa. We spent a week on the beach, and then we flew to the Masai Mara, and we spent a week on safari, and then we flew back to Mombasa and spent the final week on the beach. Lovely place. They're very poor, though, and they pester the life out of you, as you'd probably expect. Lovely people, but yeah. And I think that's probably the hottest weather I'd ever seen there. I think that's one of the few holiday destinations where I've had my air conditioning on 24/7. But yeah, if you've never been on safari, that's a great experience. We flew past Kilimanjaro on the way to the Masai Mara. It was on the left, all capped with snow. And on the way back, we had the worst weather I've ever experienced in a plane. I thought my time was up. We had a massive storm. You wouldn't think you'd be getting hit by a hailstorm in Africa. But yeah, it was pretty scary. Everything went black. The plane was getting battered with and apparently they get it on a regular basis. But yeah, I think that's probably the only time I thought my number was up. But as soon as we were in it, we came out of it, and then there we go. Here we are. Northern Ireland was a scary place in the 80s. Had quite a few bombs. In fact, I don't know whether some of you older guys remember. You probably don't. There used to be back when we had video recorders. There used to be a shop called what's it called? Radio Rentals. Back in the day, we're talking in the middle 80s, and I went to Omagh, which was a place in Northern Ireland, and I went down and hired a video recorder. I was about 17 at the time, and I hired, I think, the Rocky movie. And that was on the Saturday afternoon. And on the Saturday night, the IRA blew the centre of Omagh town centre, and Radio Rentals was the epicentre. So that was before they had computers, so everything was kind of paperwork back then. So I ended up getting a free video recorder and a free Rocky film out of it. So the IRA had their uses. But yeah, we quite had a few bombs come over the fence, one or two. So what is going on here? It's so hard to trade this because you never know when it's going to turn. We got a channel break new high. We got a lower high, but can you trust this? How do I know it's not going to trigger me and bounce, or it comes straight down the bottom? It's hard to trade this stuff at the moment. It is kind of ranging, but really ranging's for shorting the tops and buying the bottoms. We didn't get to the top. So, but because this is every time we get up here, it's at a different level. You don't know whether the market sees this as a top or it doesn't, and that's the trouble. So there's kind of a failure there, but at the moment, I really don't know what this market's going to do. Is it going to come down? Is it going to go up? Yeah, it's definitely a range day. Trouble is, range days are great as long as we're finding the same similar tops and similar bottoms. This wasn't terrible for bottoms, but once this happened, you've got a bottom here. Is this a bottom? Is this a top? Is this, you know what I mean? Is this a top or is it pushing higher? Now, there is possible second entry long, although it's an inside bar, but there may be a failure. But is this going to come down? It didn't look like it, does it? So at the moment, this is just a bit unpredictable. It's a bit choppy. So the simple answer is really just to stay out of this. I used to try and trade these. I've just given up now because it don't work. You know, there is kind of a failure, but you don't know whether it's going to work or not. And the trouble is it's constantly overlapping itself. So even if you wanted to hold into a trade, you couldn't do it for long. And that's the trouble. When it's choppy like this, it tends to overlap it. So you never quite know what you're going to get. I mean, if we get a really good, strong setup, setups like that, traders do tend to trade and they do tend to work well. But at the moment, I can't see anything that really jumps out at me. Can I just test something on you guys a minute? I've changed my stream settings to normal latency. So what I want to do is try and establish the time difference between you guys and me. I used to have it on ultra and it's about 2 seconds. So what I'm going to do, if somebody can, is I'm going to shout out a number and I want anybody just to type that number in the comments. So I just want to see how long it takes me to say it and how long it takes you guys to type it in. Now, there's probably going to be a couple of seconds anyway. You know, the time it takes to sort of type it. Now, so if I say a number, can someone or anybody or all of you just type that number and post it so I can just see roughly. So I'm going to do it now. Okay, so number 4. So there's about 7 seconds, I'd say there. So I'd say realistically, there's probably a 5-second difference. So what I might do is for tomorrow is go back. You can see on it. This is what I see. I have it not. I used to have it set to ultra low latency. The trouble is, ultra low latency doesn't support a higher output, higher video output, and I wanted to try and make things as clear as I can. So as I put on to low, it's maybe 5 seconds. This probably 10 or 12. So I'm going to go back to ultra, I think, for tomorrow, and that will things maybe a couple of seconds. So it's much quicker. So I appreciate that. So yeah, 4 scores. So yeah, it's maybe 5 seconds. I'll give a couple of seconds for you to sort of type it on your keyboard and hit the post. So yeah, 5 seconds on average. Not a huge amount, but sometimes it makes a difference. So 1, 2, 3, maybe a triple test here to go short, but I don't know at the moment. It's hard to know. We go down, we go up, we go down, we go up. So it's just chopping up and down at the moment for me. So we have pushed up. There may be a couple of attempts to go lower and it pushes up. But as I say, maybe. As tempting as it is to assume that's the case, it's a bit risky. So channel up with a break new high. Triple test maybe, a couple of attempts, but this is 2 legs down. Let's see what happens here. But we come down, we go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. Where's this going? You'd expect it to get up to here, but it's 15 ticks already, and it's not finished yet. I'm not getting into 15 ticks just to ride it up here a little bit. There's no guarantees it's going to push up. So it may be a slow day today. Put you in the time. It's rhythmic and everything. So what's that called? Mindberg Network NTP. Take a photo of that. I mean, talking about times, all I have is something called Time Sync, which hopefully keeps things as close. So I'm not I'm more of a hardware person than a software person. So I don't fully understand all of that stuff, but it's so much goes on the technical side of all this. It's hard to know exactly what's what. The trouble is, when you're a retail trader, you don't have any kind of formal training. You know, if you're trading for some of these big investment firms, you've got all of the latest up-to-date gear, software, technical support, everything like that. So you're well on top of things. But as a retail trader, we do kind of lack that certain side of it from time to time. Having said that, I don't really have any major problems here. Occasionally, an order doesn't close, but I've got things in place to sort of mitigate that. But for the most, I don't really have any problems. Your lag is looking like 1/2 of a second behind, much slower than my view. You want to be running with the big dogs. Hold on a minute. 1 to 2/10 of a second behind. Yeah. I'll look into that, mate. I took a photo of what you posted there. I'll have a look at that and see what it is and see how I can get it operational, so to speak. I mean, everything seems to work okay. I don't feel like I have any major issues as such, but you know, you don't know really, do you? So, about 2 to 4 100 of a second behind Chicago. Yeah. So I suppose does that? I mean, I suppose your internet speed, maybe your computer, probably all play a certain part. I have upgraded my computer at the moment. I'm about as quick as you can probably get at the moment. Computer wise, I've sort of picked up the kind of the most powerful chip I can from AMD. My internet speed is pretty quick. It's a gigabit, so it's super quick. It's a gig up, but about 950 up, 950 megabits per second. So my sort of hardware and connection speed is up to scratch. So, you know. So, yeah, it's unpredictable. This you don't quite know it's going to do that, and that's the thing. At least you got a fair idea. But trouble is, where's the top? If I bring that down to there, does that help? Maybe. Starlink system, so I can hit the road and trade this winter. I'm anticipating slow. Starlink, is that Tesla thing? Is it not Tesla? You know what I mean. He's just put some of those satellites into space. That's what I'm thinking of. Elon Musk. Is that what Starlink? Isn't he to do with Starlink? Elon Musk. Yeah, I did watch that. That rocket dropping those. Where's this going? Dropping those things into space. What do you call them? Satellites. He's a very clever guy, is Elon Musk. He's a little bit odd, isn't he? But with that kind of lifestyle and money, you probably wouldn't be a little bit odd. Okay, so it's messed around for long enough. All of a sudden now we've got a big drop out the bottom straight down. So where's this going? So we've broken below there, I think. Not quite. We've bounced there. So that's interesting. Trouble is, it may just be another breakout that fails. Hard to say. We're down in a channel here anyway. I can't see any breaks there. It fits kind of nice. No cabling, yeah. Things are just going to get better and better, aren't they? I mean, I remember a 56k modem. I remember downloading Pirates of the Caribbean, and it took a week. And I opened it on the computer, and it was about that big. And that was it. Well, in the UK, when you couldn't use the phone, use your home phone and the internet at the same time. So I thought I was up to date and super computer savvy by downloading a movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, and it took me, I think, about 5 days, and all of a sudden when it downloaded, I had a bunch of phone calls saying, where have you been? I can't been able to phone you for 5 days. So things have definitely changed. Boat at sea is just fine. Yeah, things are getting better, aren't they, really? You know, there's, I suppose, you know, there's not many places on the globe now that you're not kind of up to date. Well, there probably is, but things are getting better, especially when we get rid of cables and everything sort of comes from up above. That's the way it's going, isn't it? This to me looks like it's about to drop some more. It's flickering around sideways. It's not getting up, so I think it's probably going to push down a chunk more. So it's actually broke those lows there. Let's see what happens now. I still think it's going to come down. This is flicking around this. It's almost like slightly like bad news, isn't it? But yeah, maybe. So we've hit the open. Today's open. See, the way this was working, it was certainly looking like we were going to continue up for another leg, but market had other ideas. So I'm going to move that to there, I think. Touch, back to the channel. So I think that channel's okay for me personally. Now there's bound to be liquidity around this area. So this is a break. Trouble is, if that's the channel, then we've already had a break and a new low. I don't think it is, though. I think this is going to come down further. And if I go from that top bar there and there, excuse me, that fits in. So I think this is coming down further. There are orders at 10, which is down here. Whether it gets down any more is another matter. So I can't take a short here. That's more like one leg up. You could technically say it's in two, but it's not convincing enough for me, so I wouldn't automatically get into a short here. It looks a little better here, but it's still not good enough for me. There is a higher low there, so I automatically wouldn't be thinking about short here. You never know whether this, you know, if we've got this push down, if there's buyers down here holding this thing for a bigger move up, you'd expect it to be a little stronger, so it may not get down here. It's hard to say. So what I'm going to do now is call that one channel and this a break. I don't think you could maybe divide that up a bit, but I don't think it's convincing enough, so I would say that's probably a channel, I think. So if we can get a break in a new high, test this area maybe, then we may get something down. But I would prefer this break quite broad, something like that you can't confuse it for a channel up. So I would much prefer something like that. Push down, stop out that bar there maybe, and then get a second leg up. There is technically a second entry short, although I think it is one channel, so there may be a lower high here. But all of a sudden now it's stacking, so you've got to be a little careful. So, yeah, so rightly so. So you can't take that really. And then all of a sudden, is this a second leg up? That doesn't look too bad to me. If we get a bearish bar close below here, that wouldn't be terrible. Tempting that. It's not a huge risk, but I'm just sitting tight at the moment. I'm a bit unsure about what's what. Sometimes these little bars, they kind of work, but it hasn't triggered anyway as of yet. Would be a better bar to do. It's very tempting that. But is there a bigger channel up? It's a bit unpredictable, this. Ordinarily, I may have a go at something like that, but if we get a lower high, that would be a better... I think it's probably okay. But I'm going to wait for a lower high. It's just, at the moment, things are a bit unpredictable. That looks like a little micro with a clear break and a new high. See if we get a lower high. There is possibly a channel up, but I prefer these a little bit more broad and far apart. That it's possible. I don't like this, though. You may argue that's a bit of an overshoot. So my gut feeling is this is going to come down. There are orders down here at 10 down here, so I'd want a lower high, though. Maybe trap some longs and then come down. It's very tempting. Okay, see what happens here. Let's just get an order ready,
submitted.
just in case. No, I don't like this.
Order cancelled.
So let's assume there is a larger channel there. This is a break. Maybe it makes 2 attempts to push up and then comes down. So let's agree that's a break. Okay, so that wouldn't have worked. That's why I never automatically take that, especially when it's close together. If this was a little bit more like that, 2 clear legs, that's better. Trouble is, the tighter these are together, the more chances it's a channel. Yeah, there was a failure there, but at the moment, as we've kind of closed right there, I would have to avoid that just in case, because it may trigger you and then come down. But big all is at 40 and at 45. So I think you may look at this as a spiking channel. We're going out at a slightly different angle. So we've had a break and a new high. It's hard to read this. Break new highs. Technically, it's played out. Second entry long may work. But at the moment, it's a bit unpredictable and a little bit hard to read. So it'd be easy to get trapped. So it is a little bit untrustworthy, this. As I say, I think it's starting to look more like a spike in a channel, just the angle it's going up at. Touch. See what happens here. Yeah, it's not the easiest of days to trade, to be fair. None of it's consistent. It's bouncing different, with the exception of a few little touches there. But apart from that, every time we have a high, we're in at a different level. Every time we have a low, it's at a different level. So, okay, so all of a sudden we're struggling to get up. Yeah. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. And then straight down. Yeah, as I say, there are orders at 10 down here, so get a bit of a pullback. We've been into the channel here. Let's get a bit of a pullback. It's not going to, is it? It's just going to drop. It's a real shame. I mean, we got to break 2 pushes. Trouble is, when you get that, you definitely start thinking about, okay, we're in and we're holding. Maybe there's a spike in a channel. I don't think you can just trust that and then all of a sudden jump in. You've really got to get a lower high below here, really, and then knowing we're going to trap bulls maybe here and here, which will give us some momentum. But there's nothing really. There's just that first bar initially, and then we just drop 5, 10, 15 points straight down. So what I will say now, I think at least we're out of this top section of the range, which may be giving us a better opportunity to get something. Let's put that there. So channel down, correction, and then a drop. So my guess is we're kind of likely going to test these lows, I think, the way I'm looking at it. So maybe 2 legs down, which take us just below the lows of the day. So quite possibly. So we need a couple of legs up, don't we? If we can get a couple of legs up and a second entry shortly, that will give us a move down, 2 attempts to push higher and then a way down. But I'm hoping this happens now before it gets too far down. Could be coming out of the bottom down again, yeah. See, there is orders down here at 10, so I wasn't super convinced this thing was pushing back up to these high, and then obviously when we had that, we've picked off previous liquidity here. So as we've pushed back and done this, for me, it's down now. So this is the next bunch of liquidity to pick off. We're not far away from that. So I'll be surprised. We may pull back a little bit before we get there, but there's bound to be some there. We've got a bullish bar and a high low there. Now, granted, that's what it looks like on my chart, but you can see a move up from there, a pullback and another move up. So after this leg down, we've made 2 attempts to push higher and a strong move up. So my guess is there's probably going to be liquidity, whether it's below there or there. So we are struggling a bit now. It makes sense at this level. So if we can get a pullback, we may find a ride down. We'll see. Trouble is, if we pull back from there without getting to the bottom, we may have a break, which by the time it gets up there, may test this area. So we'll see. We can get a decent second entry short. I can't see anything in the way of liquidity there to entice this thing to go back up too far. Come on, and a second push up. Okay, so there's our little micro. We need a little break here and another one. I can't see. Trouble is, usually it'll go back and clear liquidity. The next lot of liquidity is up here. I can't see that getting up that high. But there is orders at 40, so... But they have been sat there a while now, so you don't know whether they're just enticing this thing to push up. Damn it, I knew that was going to happen. I was hoping we get back here, maybe a triple test, and it's just dropping. Look. That's frustrating. And then down we come. Liquidity down here, and then overnight lows. Surely if there's stops there, you'd be getting out of them now, wouldn't you? You'd think so. Which is why this may come down a bit easier. There's definitely more aggressive sellers at the moment. I think it'll get down there quite easy now, to be honest with you. Certainly below this. If there is stops here, you'd be getting out of this surely by now, as it pushed up and it went sideways. And so channel with a break. 2 pushes to a new low. We need a pull back here, although I don't think we're going to get one. Certainly not to the EMA. It'll just go now, I think. So Issue shorted. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? If only we knew. Yeah, Marco took a short there. Quite attractive looking. Came back to the EMA and pushed. He goes for 6 ticks, so it was golden there. So, as I say, I kind of like those types of trade. I preferred it a little bit broader up there. Cybers and up there. I may have had a go at that. He took the second entry long for a snap. Yeah. Trouble is, when it's so close to the lows, I'd expect it to come down some more. Yeah, I can see a lot of orders on Bookmap down below. You can see them down here, 705, below 702, 700. So I think this is going to continue down. We are back to the EMA, but it's just crossed over and dropping. It's frustrating, really. What you want is there's a higher low there. You want that bull bar to trigger, test maybe, touch the open and then drop, but it's just crossed over and dropped 25, 26 points, 26 ticks straight down. It's frustrating, really, because, you know, when it gets back there, that's where we're kind of looking for shorts, but it just doesn't give us nothing. It just crosses over and drops 27 ticks. I'd have much preferred it to trap that bull bar there and then give us something. So we're below there. We're a tick now off this lows. This will push down. In fact, now we're actually on the lows now. Right there. Sorry, the low's my mistake. That next higher low. Come on, come up a bit higher. That's what I'm thinking. Come up a little bit higher. Still think this will come down some more. Got to get up here at least. Okay, so there's the open. So buyers pushing that. So the trouble is, whenever you get these bars, they tend to be super large. It's It would have to be a lower high, really. Trouble is, we got a little micro there. We haven't had a break of it, really. There's the break. Maybe come up here, test this. There's always the possibility that there's something larger. I'm not convinced. Someone else has got that, see, so there is a higher low there. I wouldn't be thinking about going long just at the moment, or short, in all fairness, but it may come up here. Just that 22 ticks. These bars are rather large, and if you get it wrong, especially as choppy as it is. There is a second entry short there. You may argue a triple test. It's very tempting. It's just a little bit untrustworthy. It's a little bit congested there. If you get a lower high, that's not a bad option, I think. But there is a possible failure. Well, there you go, see. So you took the short, triggered you, pushed up. Is it going to break above there? I'd say it probably will now. Push up, sideways, push up. But it may work. You just don't know. It pulled back nearly right to the top. There is a little bit of support across there, or resistance, whichever way you want to call it. But it's stacking up now. Trouble, that's the trouble. Up, across, and up. Are we going to push up? It's all right. A couple of people had this. And if that's the case, it may come up considerably higher. That's a little bit too premature for me personally. It's easy to get it wrong here. We're set up for 4 points. Yeah. Thing is, bars are moving quite comfortably at the moment, aren't they? If you can get it in the right direction, there is a second entry short there, but it's a little bit congested, and that concerns me. It's a bit wicky. It triggered, almost came down, but it did push. Someone said triple test. Really, it's not for me. I'd have to have a second leg up there for a triple test. Lower high is a better option, but it's a little bit unpredictable, this, so you've got to be confident you know what you're looking at. Runner's still alive. Maybe we get a lower high here. Or it might just drop down. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a second. So there is a lower high. It's too far from that EMA for me. It may trigger and push up. That did work. Just not a massive fan of it. Did anybody take it that I can see? No, I don't think they did. So it's too far from that EMA, really. It has triggered. Is it going to push up? Who knows? I still see orders down here at 05, which is below there, and 02 and 01. So I still think this is going to come down. I just preferred a little pullback. Let me just get an order ready, just in case we get one.
Order submitted.
Down here, there's a failure there. Trouble is, it's just too far away from that. It's so tempting. Trouble is, nah, it's too late. We're already at the lows there. 17 ticks, 20. No. That's a shame.
Order cancelled.
You can't take that. We're already past the lows there. That's a bit frustrating. What can you do? So, overnight highs, lows, my mistake. Is we've matched them so far. There we go. So we've broken the overnight lows. So when you see this going up, you're thinking it's going to be a bullish day with a correction, and then all of a sudden it hits this level and then turns. So I can still see orders on Bookmap below the current price now down here, as far as 95 down here. So I'm just going to sit tight. So 95. Let's grab that. So there's orders down there. So I'm doing nothing at the moment. well, they're between 02 and 05, so between 02, just below 702, which is about there, and down to 95. So there are a lot of orders down here. So I still think this will come down some more. It's going to be liquidity. We push up with those two legs down. There's going to be liquidity down there. So I think there's a good chance it comes down to the bottom of there or very close. Let's get rid of that. So channel down with a break. Possibly second entry short. Trouble is, we've already made a new low, so do we really want to go short? There is a second entry short there. It's just, nah, I'm not getting interested in that. I mean, look at this. We're already, I mean, the thing's 22 ticks. It ain't finished yet. Nothing you can do there, unfortunately. I do think it'd probably come down a little bit lower, but that measured move is right there. So such a big, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking that right into the lows. Big bearish bar right into the lows. If it triggers and pushes you up, you're going to get your arse handed on a plate there. 27 ticks, tick above, tick below. That's too much for me. When you see that coming back towards you, your arse is going to be twitching like a good one. There's still orders down here, 700 and below. So I still think we're going to get into the latter part of this. Okay, so the orders at 700 are gone. There's some at 97.50 and some at 95. And that's the strongest orders I can see. 95 takes out that area after that correction. We got the move up with that correction previous day. Now, whether it'll get that low, it's hard to say, but those orders are there nonetheless. So until it cleared that area, I wouldn't be thinking about taking a trade here. So now, 1, 2, possible triple test, but do I really want to go short when it's going sideways right at the lows of the day? Not really. I know where I think it's going, but I need something a little bit more, a little bit stronger than just that. Trouble is, this thing could absolutely tank. It could do. Go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. We certainly could come right down here. It's certainly possible. Trouble is, we don't know. That's the trouble. I'm guessing that will probably work, but look at the size of it. Same again like that one, right into the lows. I don't see how you can take that in all good conscience. That should come with a warning sign, really. You reckon back up? I'm not convinced this thing ain't going to continue down, to be honest with you. I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable going long or short at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if this just came down some more, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just turned and pushed up. I don't think we've seen the end of going down a little bit more first. Certainly to this 95 area. Sellers are trying to push prices further down and buyers are absorbing prices, yeah. So we've actually made a measured move right to the tick. So whether that makes a difference or not. And it is accurate. I have checked it. So right to the very tick. But I still see orders down here from buyers. So perhaps buyers want this thing to go a little bit lower. Who knows? Now all of a sudden, is it taking off? Or is there a larger channel and it's just finding some a little bit of support there? Resistance maybe. Is that a triple test?